How's it? Hopefully my cat gets out the way soon. Thank you, Catman. Welcome back to the channel. So we are just about finished with this book here, The Wild Way to Lucid Dreaming. I'm still in the final chapter of the book. I did find a couple more things I think I'll cover really quickly. There is one more short section after this chapter about frequently asked questions, but I was just skimming through it now. Some of that's kind of neat, but I think I'll just kind of leave that be for now. And so I'll probably shoot one more video and I'll, after this, to wrap up my kind of closing thoughts on the book. But with that out the way, we'll hop on in. So this chapter is called, again, The Philosophy of Lucid Dreaming. And so here he brings up a really big question, you know, that kind of just looms over the entire lucid dreaming OBE astral projection community, essentially getting at, you know, like, what does all of this mean? And so he writes, is there a meaning to lucid dreaming? By which, of course, I mean, is there perhaps some credible reason or purpose behind being able to do so? Or is this rather odd and ostensibly unexplained phenomenon, as science suggests, merely some physical or psychological glitch of perception, one that with practice people are able to learn and exploit for purposes of mere entertainment, but which means little else beyond that? And so, had a hard time reading that, but anyway, even if it is just purely for entertainment purposes and it ends up being all, you know, lucid dreaming and astral projection, all these practices are good for, to me, that is still a very worthwhile reason to pursue the practice. You know, I would just suggest practicing in a way that isn't too, like, cumbersome on your life, right? Find a way where you can practice at it in a kind of light, gentle way for essentially the rest of your life. And you know, when you have lucid dreams and it works, perfect. When you don't, no big deal, just get a good night's rest. So that's kind of my general approach to, you know, approaching the practice here. It doesn't have to be this life-consuming thing. However, personally, I do think there is more to this lucid dreaming practice beyond just merely entertainment. I do like to kind of try and stick to more of the solid, concrete things and not get too, you know, out there with my feelings on it. But, you know, at bare minimum, aside from the entertainment thing, I think it's incredibly useful because it can really help you to build a better relationship, you know, with your subconscious, right? Because you get a chance to directly witness, interact with, and befriend your subconscious mind in this, you know, dreaming space. And to me, you know, that is extremely beneficial. I do absolutely feel like, you know, with these past 10 years or so, as I've been taking my practice seriously, I do feel like I have developed a better relationship with myself purely through my dreaming practice. So, you know, that to me, worthwhile giving it a try just for that. Then we'll skip really far to the end before hopping back to the middle. So here he's talking about, is this dreaming worlds, or these lucid dream worlds that we're entering into, you know, is that beyond just our own, you know, physical bodies? So he writes, a possible proof of dream worlds being representative of the reality of other dimensions and parallel worlds would be if people could meet up with each other and communicate on those levels of awareness rather than being merely confined to the limitation of one's own imagination and the phantom images of other people. I have a sneaking suspicion that it can be done. The Australian Aborigines, who do have a very rich dreaming culture, I believe they call it dream time. It's been a while since I really kind of dug into that, but the Australian Aborigines don't seem to have any problem accepting such things. I've certainly had some very odd experiences in that direction, things that make me question and ponder the possibility, but nothing so far that could possibly stand as representing any kind of definitive evidence of such things existing. If we can do it, then why is it so difficult to reproduce or, you know, prove? Maybe someone will get lucky one day and be able to tell us what we've all been doing wrong, but so far it just doesn't seem to work. And this part really jumped out to me. I've certainly talked to quite a few people in my dreams, but if they're all really just figments of my own imagination, then I guess I don't actually want to talk to them. Oof, that just seemed a bit harsh to me, you know, especially going over what I just covered in the previous earlier part of the video. You know, if it is just figments of yourself that you're talking to, that's awesome, right? That's your subconscious mind. So you get a, you know, wonderful opportunity there to directly interact with, get to know it better, and befriend it. And then we'll close it off with this part. It's kind of off topic, but here he's talking about dream recall and gives some good recommendations on it. The only way I've personally managed to maintain that awareness of, memory of the dream without it all fading away is upon waking to sit immobile, almost as if in meditation, so as to delay fully engaging with the normal actions of the waking world. Things such as getting up, dressing, and maybe making a cup of tea for breakfast, which, although not complex tasks, that's definitely complex enough to make you forget whatever dreams you're having. Typically engage one's attention and are instrumental in bringing that curtain of forgetfulness right down until only a vague memory of your dreaming knowledge/awareness remains. And so that's a really good point. You do not, if you want to remember your dreams, do not move when you wake up. You got to commit some time to lying your ass in bed, not moving. Like the way I like to do it is whatever position I wake up in, I'll stay in that position. I'll try to keep my eyes closed, although I do glance at the clock, but maybe glance at the clock really quickly, unless it's like a really awesome dream that I really don't want to forget. At that point, I won't check the clock, but most of the time, I'll wake up, I'll glance at the clock, and then immediately start committing the dreams, because, I probably could remember multiple dreams for the night, not just the one I was waking up out of. Start committing those to memory, and at least for me, I got to put a decent amount of time into it, like a good 10 minutes or so minimum. If I'm remembering a lot of dreams, like 3-4 dreams, and I remember a lot of those dreams, I gotta lie in bed for like 20 minutes sometimes, just really going over this stuff over and over again, really committing it to memory. And then at that point, I can kind of get up and move around the house and maybe start brewing a cup of coffee or something. But while I'm doing that, and this is very important, I'm still repeating those dreams in my head, right? I'm not stopping, just running through this stuff constantly. I'm doing it while I'm making the coffee. Really try to avoid talking to people, because if you have to engage and talk with someone, that really, you're not going to be able to be repeating these words in your head, right? If you've got to engage with someone and talk. So that's a really good way to make you forget everything. Then after doing that, or even if I don't do that, if I just go straight from my bed, because I like to type my dreams out, over here to start typing them out, I'll have to do that anyway, right? Commit it to memory in bed, get up as I'm walking upstairs, repeat it, then type it. Also, you got to put aside a lot of time to write that shit out. At least for me, if I remember a lot of dreams, I'm spending like an hour writing that shit out sometimes. He has more to say though. Oddly enough, the same situation also prevails in the dreaming world. The direct memories of things one normally thinks about and does during waking also undergo a similar process, whereby they typically fade from view or become noticeably suspended to some extent. And then he brings up the exact point that I was thinking of in my head when I first read that sentence, where, like, say if you're trying to dream incubate some idea where something you want to try and do or get done, or a question you want to ask in your next lucid dream, you would be committing that stuff to memory throughout the day as you're going to sleep, but then you get lucid and you're like, damn it, I can't remember what I wanted to do in my next lucid dream. And then, you default to doing whatever you normally do. So like for me, explore the dream space, hang out with dream characters, have fun like that. Then he brings up another point here. The point is that the kinds of things one thinks about in dreaming are not the same as those in waking, and vice versa. And this just made me think, like, I am kind of like a different person in my dreams than I am in my waking life. Like, I feel a lot more free. There's a lot less anxiety. It's just, at least for me, I guess I lucked out here. Like, my dreaming world is a very fun place most of the time. Of course, I have my bad dreams, but I really look forward to being in that space, even when it is, a kind of negative dream. Lots of times, if I am lucid and it is negative, and I have the option of waking myself up out of it or staying in it, I do like to stay in it, and kind of just explore that space. And then, if it's going on for too long and I am too irritated, or, I'm too pissed off or whatever, then I'll just go ahead and wake myself up. If you want to know how to wake yourself up out of a dream, at least my go-to method has never failed me once. It's gotten me out of sleep paralysis and everything. Is I close my eyes, my dream eyes or whatever, right? And then I shake my head really hard back and forth. And I don't have to use it all that often. right? Like, most of the time, if I'm like in an irritating dream and I want to wake up, I don't have to resort to that. I'll just go ahead and wake myself up. I really only got to resort to that when I'm trying to wake myself up and I'm having a hard time, but you know, it's never failed me. So, you know, give it a try. If you can dream incubate this idea deep enough into your head to remember to give it a try the next time you're lucid and you want to get out of a dream. Anyway, I feel like I rambled on. There was having a hard time reading a lot of this shit too. Anyway, that's it. Until the next video, keep your lucid dreaming practice legit.